Hi, and welcome to another episode of Moving Mountains. I'm Dr. Lance Knaub, and I'm here today with Steve Murphy, partner of Legacy Developers. Steve, I'm going to have to call you Murph today, so that's what you go by.
And that's it. That's what I'm known by. That's what everybody calls me, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, awesome. And, we've known each other for, I guess, about a year.
Almost a year and a half, maybe.
Up
to a year and a half, yeah.
Yeah, and we met through your brother, Joe Evangeliste.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we've done a lot of stuff together in the last year and a half. Masterminds on all ends. That's where we just remembered our first meeting. Mm-hmm. When I came into one of Joe's masterminds and presented, which was awesome. Then I've attended Legacy masterminds and Joe's masterminds, and we've done some conferences together. And
we've gone through the whole gamut, man. It was a good time, and I'll kind of just run off of that, I guess, right? Where the importance of masterminds and building that network, because we've built a great connection, and we've helped me a lot with through the whole entrepreneurship transition that I've been going through. So
tell us about that. That's kind of where I like to start anyway, to really have people tell their story, their journey, especially yours, from 9 to 5 as an educator and a healthcare person, athletic trainer, into the realm of commercial real estate. Tell us how it happened.
Yeah, well, I did your traditional 8 years of college, which not many people do, but that's what I chose to do, right? To finally get that bachelor's degree, and my degree in athletic training. So I fell in love with the sports medicine world. I got a job at a high school down in South Jersey, and I was doing that, and I was technically a part-time gig, just the athletic training side of things, and then I kind of basically fell into teaching full-time. And then it's kind of really where I realized that I love challenges. You can't do the same thing year after year. So then I said, okay, cool, I'll try teaching. I've never done that before. And then taught science, taught many, many different classes in the science field. And then, I guess I did that for 8 years. And then you get near the end, and you're just wondering, how many times can you keep redoing that cycle over and over again where nothing really changes? I'll get into it a little briefly, but for me, COVID was the influencer of that transition.
Yeah.
The way the education system was going, I just didn't agree with the way we're handling it and how we're treating the kids, and I kind of just lost the love of that through the administration and everything that's going on, and what was expected of us as teachers.
A lot of good teachers really, fell out of their roles during that time.
It was tough, and so fortunately, I was looking at it, I left the school. I pat myself on the back because I got fired from the school. So, and that allowed me to reach out to Joe. Yeah. And to be honest, I really went to Joe. I think it was the day I got let go, and my vision was to start some type of, online fitness, wellness type of program, utilize that sports medicine degree, and transition to help people on that scale, and basically stop working for the man kind of thing.
Yeah.
And sure enough, at that time, Joe started a mastermind, and he needed somebody who could integrate the members, get to know everybody in the group, and help run the educational platform of it. And I remember saying to him that day, I was like, Joe, I don't know anything about real estate. And he's like, you don't have to. I said, okay, and we're in self-storage. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about building self-storage.
Right.
He's like, perfect, you don't have to. They're the questions that everybody in the groups are going to be asking. So for you to ask those questions now, you can deliver them the answers. So I'm like, all right, cool. So that's really where it all started. So I said, okay, awesome. And, I think the way the system went, I went in there for one day. Just went around a couple of meetings, and Joe was on your show.
Yeah. And
he's a coach himself, and he actually does meetings with our entire executive team once a week, a coaching platform. And I remember sitting in on one of those meetings, and it had to deal with leadership. One of the teachings was dealing with leadership and being a good leader, and it was one of those moments that everything just kind of came full circle. Because at school, my main issue with administration was lack of leadership, not understanding leadership qualities, and not being able to pass it down to everybody else. And I said, holy crap, this is exactly where I belong. This is exactly where I need to be.
Yeah.
And that's really what kind of started moving those pieces together. And in that first year, working with Legacy, in that seat of helping run the mastermind, I thought was pretty cool. I was in there for a month and a half, and I'm
Yeah.
planning an event in Las Vegas. So my first ever big thing I'd done there was I put on a 60-person event at the Wynn Hotel in Las
Right.
Vegas. And I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, yeah, so that's how I entered in.
Wow. So what are the biggest lessons you've learned over that 2 years, and especially for other people who want to spread their wings and make a pivot and move into an area that's more exciting, follow their passions, follow their dreams? What would you recommend to them? And, mentors in this last 2 years and even earlier on along the way?
Yeah, there's a lot. I would say the first biggest thing that I learned was that every day is you're going to be challenged.
Yeah.
Hold on. Jesus, what the hell is going on?
Is that me or is that Murph?
Yeah, it's... Lance, what's the number on your mic?
3.
3, right?
Yep.
3. What did you... Oh, you had 1. Never mind, I know what I did.
Okay.
You had 3. I took his... Long day.
All good. You
Think
want?
about that cigar later on.
Yeah, baby. Where do you want us to start?
Start with the same question. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Jesus.
Murph's gonna have the perfect answer.
Yeah, I
That's
know,
good.
this is awesome.
There you go.
I like it.
Gotcha, boom.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So back to the main shot. Go ahead. 3, 2, 1.
What were the biggest lessons you've learned over that time frame? And for others who want to spread their wings and make a pivot and really, follow their dreams, explore their dreams, what would you recommend for them? And definitely, any guides and mentors you've had, please, share that.
I had to say there's a lot of lessons, but the biggest one that I kind of caught early on was that you're going to be faced with challenges every day. And there's a lot of times where I'm sitting there and you think back like, why am I doing this? I can go back to a 9 to 5, just take that salary paycheck.
Right.
I'm done it. I clock in, clock out.
Yeah.
You know what you're making every week, and life seems easier. And then I remind myself of the fact that that comfortness of that job destroyed me. Right.
Right.
So I realized that the entrepreneurial lifestyle, and it's not for everyone,
Sure.
I mean, it's a challenge. You have to be a fighter.
Yeah.
You have to love challenges and love solving problems, and and you have to be able to rely on others too. I mean, I think what made that transition strong for me was the way that Joe runs the company. Has mastermind events.
Right.
We're involved whether we want to or not, but I remember that first year, it was pretty cool because we all take a Colby test. And the first year I'm answering these questions, and I remember saying like, how the heck is this test going to know anything about me?
Right.
And it literally labeled me as a transitioner. I'm
Okay.
transitioning from the 9 to 5 to the entrepreneur, so it really couldn't grade me.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, it's weird. So a year later, I take the test again, and I transitioned, and I was, it gave me a score, and I don't quite know what the score means, but basically I know that I was not a high-end fact finder. I was an action taker, move forward, act and figure it out later.
Okay.
Kind of guy, and which fits most of our office.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty neat because it was kind of, you're going through that first year, you're struggling, you have to have that fighter mentality.
Right.
You have to put up and show up every day. And then, year 2, and then it's a lot of pivots, right? So you
Yeah.
have to be adaptable.
Right.
That's a big one. And, I had a big time, influencer when I was working at the school. Coach Walsh, he passed, he was a football coach.
Okay.
He would always say, adapt, adjust, overcome.
Okay.
Right? That was like his big lines that he would tell all his players, and that's how I live my life. And challenges come up, adapt, adjust, overcome. There's a solution for everything.
For sure.
So I would say that's the biggest one. They know it's going to be a fight. You have
Yeah.
to have a fighter mentality. It's not for everyone. It's that
Yeah.
victim mindset.
Right.
So if you have that mentality where, hey, I'm accepting this challenge, I'm ready for this problem,
Yeah.
let's go after it, you're going to be in a good spot.
Well, I guess, that leads me into the next thing I want to ask about is how you get through tough times and challenges. And I know you do have a boxing background and a passion for boxing. So, and I agree, like, I think entrepreneurship is, you do have to be ready to get punched in the face, a lot. And hopefully you get better at things so you get punched in the face a little bit less and have a little less pain, but there's always going to be pain.
Right. There was nothing scarier than when I was my first time. I guess I was 14 when I stepped into a ring and it was a man versus me.
Yeah.
Right? I was 14. He was actually 18.
Right.
So he was a man.
Yeah.
And look, I was able to do that when I was 14. I did that for up until I was 22 when I went to college. And then I still look back to that day. You know, I mean, hey, I was able to get into a ring, not know that guy across the corner there who wants to beat the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And this is what I love to do. This is my thing.
Yeah.
So, we have a saying in the office, we make a bad decision, did anybody die?
Right.
No? Okay. Everything's fixable unless, someone dies, right?
Yeah.
So everything's fixable.
Yeah, so even the mindset, how do you get through, what challenges have you not, obviously you're kind of 2 years into your entrepreneurial, full-fledged entrepreneurial journey. Is there anything else to how you approach, being willing to get in the ring with,
Yep, positive mindset.
tough people.
That's it. You have to have a positive mindset, and in all things in life. And I think that's something I've always had. That's kind of been innate in me. People always mention that about me and say, tell me something about Murph. He's like, oh, he's always happy. I think just going through everything, knowing there's a solution to every problem, and things might suck right now, but there's a positive thing to happen. And I'm also somebody who, I don't like to dwell on decisions that I make. There could be bad decisions, there can be detrimental decisions to finances, to your health, to whatever it is, and you just got to own it. And there's a solution for it. So there's a reason for everything, and I also hang my hat on faith with a lot of those things as well.
Yeah.
And I think when you have faith and when you have a good, strong circle around you, of people around you, that a core connection, I don't think anything can defeat you,
Yeah.
Having that positive mindset and having positive people around you.
Okay, I love that. So much good stuff, Murph. We're going to take a quick break now because when we get back, we're going to talk about how Murph stays healthy. He's got a health background as an athletic trainer and now as an entrepreneur, how he avoids burnout. So please stay tuned and enjoy our message from our sponsors. Thank you. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Moving Mountains. I'm here today with Steve Murphy, also known as Murph. So Murph, yeah, we're talking about so many good things. Let's jump right into staying healthy now that you're like a full-fledged entrepreneur, right? So it's kind of like your startup phase, and it can be all-encompassing, overwhelming, 24/7. How do you avoid burnout? And again, mental health, weave any, mental health into the equation, and how you really stay charged. And we already talked a little bit about your, exercise, boxing passion.
That's something that I think about all the time. Obviously, I mentioned before. I mean, that's a passion of mine, right? I mean, that's when I got into the sports medicine field, was literally because of health, and I was an athlete myself, so I wanted to work with athletes. The big things with staying healthy is have a routine. And I think it's more important than just you literally have to find a routine that you love. I literally look forward to Saturday mornings week after week because that's sparring day, right? So that's, I'm one of the coaches. I fight for 25, 30 rounds. That is my mental health. That is my physical health. That is, it puts everything that's going on in the office, everything going away in life. When you're in the ring, that's it.
Okay.
So to me, that's the most important piece of my week as far as decompression.
And you're sparring, you're boxing for 25
Yeah. Oh yeah.
rounds.
I'm fighting. Yeah. For
Oh, wow.
I was doing the math on the way over here. It's like 90 minutes of work and 15 minutes of breaks. We do 3-minute rounds, 30-second breaks. So it's a lot. And
yeah.
I'm fighting everybody in the gym. Rotating them around. So it's, as one of the coaches, that's what we got to do.
Oh wow. Okay.
But it's literally my favorite 4 hours of the week. And then scheduling everything else. I mean, I make sure that I'm lifting 3 days a week. I do jiu-jitsu twice a week.
Right.
So right off the bat there, I mean, that alone gives me 5-6 workouts a week.
Yeah.
And I know myself. I know what happens if I miss the gym 4 days in a row. I know how I feel when I'm in the office. I know what kind of work I'm going to put out there, and it's not a lot. Right? I'm a different person. So once you really understand that and you find that thing that you love, if you love it, you're going to do it.
Right.
And if things happen, things get pushed to the side. But when you really understand how detrimental it can be when you miss those things, you make sure that you get it done. So that's the big part of the active side of things. And then nutritionally, I just try and be vigilant.
Okay.
I jump on a scale 3-4 times a day.
Okay.
So I can tell you my weight no
Wow.
matter what. I know
Yeah.
my weight like that. And I just keep an eye on it. That's really all it is. I mean, a lot of people are afraid to jump on the scale because they're afraid of that number. But you're never going to be able to track what you can't. You can't lose what you can't track, or whatever that saying is.
Yeah, you can't improve what you don't measure. Yeah, and nutrition, I mean, it's sort of like the research, right? Especially with your healthcare background, is more all over the place. It's less,
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, especially work, in this field now. I mean, everybody's doing the 75 hard, doing these and that's and this, and at the end of the day, honestly, it really comes down to just the fundamentals of nutrition. It's variety. It's don't do anything in abundance. I mean, that's really what it always comes down to.
Right.
Eat the colors, right?
Yeah.
Get all your vegetables in there. That's what makes a difference. And eat home cooked meals. If you're going out all the time.
How much sleep do you get on average?
Oh yeah.
And then what do you do for mental health?
Mental health, reading, listening. So a lot of times I'll throw in. So a lot of times I'll put in just a little short, like YouTube, kind of like inspirational speech. I've always, sometimes I go back to the originals, like the Eric Thomas stuff. Health-wise, I've always liked Greg Plitt. Greg Plitt passed a few years ago, but ever since my mid-20s, I was following Greg Plitt as an inspirational workout guru guy.
Okay.
Rogan and all those guys. Yeah, I think I'm definitely missing a big one that I listen to a lot and I can't really think of.
So this is all for your mental health.
Yeah.
Do you do any meditation?
That's the one piece that I keep asking about that I don't do.
Okay.
When I get into these rooms and you get in these masterminds, that's the piece that people keep bringing up, and I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe my meditation is different. I do a lot of, inner thoughts when I'm driving.
Right.
Maybe the first 5 minutes when I'm laying in bed kind of thing. And it seems like similar, but I've never actually done those YouTube like walk you through meditation things or anything like that. But it's
I always thought meditation sort of had to be eyes closed, but Andrew Huberman, educated me that it could be eyes open meditation, and purposeful silence is a thing, and I take advantage of that in the car and opportunities like that.
I mean, even today, I took a walk to the gym. It was a little cold, but I just wanted like just that quiet time, like that. Just take that 10-minute walk versus that 3-minute drive, and just think about the day. That kind of helps me mentally when I'm just thinking about what's going on right now, what's going on in the office, what's going on in this weekend. Let me just get some alignment going on, and that seems to help me mentally as well. And I don't know if that counts as meditation, but that's,
I think it
that's
does.
a piece that
And you
I
have
do
to
that
check out,
often.
Yeah, you have to check out Michael Singer. I'm going through Untethered Soul for the second time right now, and it is so good and so deep. And he talks about yoga actually being more for your mind, and the body benefits are just tag along. And then sleep-wise, how do you do? I love to ask entrepreneurs.
So that's funny. I really started calculating my sleep during COVID, to be honest with you. I don't know. Knock on wood, I went through that whole 2019, 2020, 21, the healthiest I've ever been.
Okay, good.
Due to I was diligent with my nutrition and my sleep.
Okay.
A lot of times with, the shutdown of things, there was nothing else to do but sleep, but I made sure that I was getting, 7 hours.
Well, you were still in education at that time.
Yeah, I was still at the school.
Yeah,
and,
because for entrepreneurs, it's so, like, sleep is one of the first things that I've recognized gets really, cut.
It's tough. But I'm very disciplined with the sleep.
You're keeping up your sleep
I know,
now?
Yeah, and then I've shifted my workouts. I'm working out in the morning, so I'm working out at 5:30 in the morning a lot, and now I make sure I get to bed by 9 o'clock's kind of like the latest I like to go, and then get good sleep and wake up at 4:30 so I can get to the gym between 4 and 4:30. And get to the gym at 5:30, and that's what sets my day up. I mean, you get that workout in.
So you're getting 7 hours, 9:30 to 4:30?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Nice. Awesome. So let's talk about like vision planning, right? Some of my favorite topics. And we've done a lot of this together in some of the masterminds. So both for you and Legacy, what does the future look like? What's the vision, your vision? I think we were talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger before the show. He was a master at having a vision and then creating it in real life. Talk to us about all those things.
So, company-wise at Legacy, we're developers and we're developing self-storage nationwide. Our company vision is 100 facilities in 10 years. We're about, closing in on 4 years now. So we have some work to do.
Yeah.
And, we've really kind of fine-tuned the team and got everybody is literally on board with this vision. We simplified the process so we're fully focused in on what that vision is, and now it's just a matter of finding those deals, finding the right people to partner with, and helping those things get across the finish line. So we're looking at doing 10 deals a year.
Okay.
And then as probably about 6 or 7 this year, 10, 12 next year, and then the abilities to be able to scale, keep moving up to get to that 100 in the next 7 to 8 years.
Okay, great. And how about you personally with all the exciting opportunities? Because you did mention how I know Legacy really does an outstanding job, better than almost any organization I've ever seen, of developing its people, right? I mean, they're literally bringing you to to all these professional growth opportunities.
Well, that's the thing, and so personal vision. The saying we have in the office that we develop leaders, and a good leader is a leader who builds leaders, right?
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
We're a small team right now, and you basically got Joe and his partner Brian at the top. Joe being the visionary, and he's basically the leader who's creating us all to be leaders, and we're all going to start moving up in those seats, and you have to be able to take those positions, and then you're going to have people working beneath you, and you got to be able to take what Joe's taught us at the top that made me a great leader, and I'm going to make those great leaders beneath me. And outside of the company too, these last 2 years, I've learned a ton about real estate. Joe's been in the business of real estate world for almost 15 years. So I'm looking to get into my first house hack this year. That was my resolution goal.
Awesome.
So trying to target other avenues of real estate that will help me personally in my my net worth and all that good stuff. And that all again really was derived from putting together my one sheet from the Mastermind Go Abundance that that I'm
Right.
in.
Yeah.
So it's getting in those circles that's really the best way to move quickly, I think,
Yeah.
in this field. And for me to have what I've accomplished and what I've learned, it's literally benefited through mentors and circles of masterminds.
Sounds like you're touching on it, but that's what I was going to ask you. So what would be your boiled down best thoughts for people that want to achieve the highest mountains, and then let everybody know how they can follow you, follow Legacy, and any exciting things you have going on that they can, for people that are interested in commercial real estate?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've talked to you about like these 3 pillars of faith, connection, and self-care. We pretty much kind of hit the 2, and then the middle one is connection. So if you're really looking to get into real estate or in any type of entrepreneurial asset, connection, meet as many people as you can. The best way to do that is get into groups, get into masterminds, and some of them are costly, but that cost is going to outweigh the risk, or the reward outweighs that risk tremendously. And do it right. Be that person who can connect with the right people, meet the right people. Like I said, we opened up the show, right? You came in and spoke for an hour at one of our events, and you've come to our masterminds, our Flying Fridays, which anybody's watching, that's also another thing that we can talk about and have you guys come into the office in Haddonfield. But get in those right rooms.
Yeah.
That is probably number one.
Okay.
If it wasn't for, Joe being the CEO and being the coach that he is,
Yeah.
I don't know how quick I would have been able to transition in those 2 years, because I might not have known that first year about coaching and all that good stuff. And when I speak to people in real estate, if you ask the person who's your coach and they don't even know what you're talking about, that's a bad sign. You should probably get them some education on getting in the right rooms and meeting the right people.
Yeah. And where can people find Legacy, find you, follow you guys?
Yeah, Legacy Developers, our website is investwithlegacy.com. My Instagram is smurphyjr3986, and then Facebook, LinkedIn, Stephen Murphy with a V, E-N, on LinkedIn and Facebook. Definitely connect, and happy to talk about the transition that I went through. Also, if you want to get into rooms, we do a free mastermind event, third Friday of every month in our office in Haddonfield. It's a great way to get started.
Yeah, and I can attest, so good, been to many, and always learn a ton. And yeah, I mean, the circle that you're surrounded with is pretty incredible. So Murph, thank you so much for sharing your journey, sharing your story, all the things I learned from you. Appreciate it. I love being in the same rooms together. So thank you. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today, and please come back next week for our next episode of Moving Mountains.